Welcome everyone to another episode. I don't know why I screamed that. Another episode of My Violet Tendencies with me, marvelous Matt Nix, Purple Poppy, and I'm joined by the other marvelous Nick. You see what I did there?
I do.
At Freelance, camera guy Nick. How's it going?
Good. Very busy as always.
Very busy. I know you do. You work at a print shop as well, don't you?
I do, yeah. It's like poster printing and banners and acrylic signs and all that jazz.
It's now we do obviously we do like DTG printing here and stuff like that. Like our job is very repetitive and boring. Is your job also very repetitive and boring, or can
Um,
be at least?
it can be, but like we have clients like Levi and like Beyonce just had a whole, stint with Levi where she had a promotional thing for her album. So we always get new stuff even though we have the same client. But then we also will get like 50% sale signs for Black Friday where we have like literally 15,000 prints.
Oh, just the same.
Right.
Gotta like
Right.
that's crazy. Okay, so like big name brands and like Beyonce, obviously one of the biggest brands. Um,
Yeah, I think people have heard of her. I don't know.
so what that you're able to talk about, I guess, is in your opinion like the craziest thing that you guys had to print, where you're just like, damn, this is fucking wild.
Um when the Cubs won the World Series, we had to print the promotional. It was like a big white acrylic sign of the ring, but it was before they had released it to the public, like because they were selling the replicas or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
So it came on like a special flash drive that they gave to my boss, and it was everybody had to sign something that, like, you can't take pictures, you can't talk about it, all that. That was
That's
pretty
pretty
cool.
fun.
Yeah, that was pretty cool, especially because I'm a Cubs fan. So
Oh, yeah, even better.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I think like I mean, there's been a ton. Obviously, with our association with AEW, like we get spoilers sometimes when there's like stuff going on that we have to print like test ones for. Um, but we do like random ass designs for people like through the 1 hour tease side that you're just like, well, that's kind of crazy. Like, or they're just like random pictures of people like in their like a very unflattering like drunken photo that someone's putting on a t-shirt. Some of my favorite ones though is like there's this like group called like Please Me Tees, I think it's called. I don't know how this man is able to operate because a lot of his designs are clearly copyrighted designs or like parodies, but they're not that much of a parody. It's very much still using the same artwork. Um, but he sells a lot of like random designs that are just like text shirts, like shit you would see at fucking like Wisconsin Dells at
okay,
like hanging on the wall.
sure.
And there's some really good ones called like that we've printed on like baby onesies even that say like legalize crystal meth, which I'm like, damn, that's kind of crazy that someone put this on their baby onesie, but
That's awesome.
it is pretty cool though. I'm like, that's a cool parent.
That I would want to be friends with the baby and the parent.
The baby and the parent. I just printed. So I don't know if you remember, there used to be the website clothing line barbershop window.
Sounds familiar, yeah.
They used to be. It used to be. I don't remember who started it. But it used to be like they would put out like random designs, and it would be like one like we're trying to think. They're like kind of like vague wrestling parody designs, and it'd be like one was like indie wrestling, and it would be like it would say indie wrestling, and it would be like Indiana Jones like doing a body slam on something, or like there was like heel and baby face of like one was like Luke Skywalker, the other one, the heel one was Darth Vader, and they were just like cute little fucking, designs that were like cheeky nods at wrestling. And they were real awesome. And the guy, like, they kind of like blew up a little bit. Like, this was like in the, I don't even know, like mid 2000s. But then my boss, Ryan, had since purchased the company from them. So we just kind of inherited all their designs. So, and not a lot of people buy those designs anymore, or like know that they're even available for purchase even. And there's some really, really fun designs in there. Some real dumb designs in there too. But and speaking of dumb designs, I was going through there and I was printing, we had a couple like grab bag blank black hoodies that I was like, I'm going to print some stupid shit on that I can like wear to the gym. And one of them was, it looks like the Bloodsport logo, and it's like in the Bloodsport font, but it says PG Sport.
Oh.
And I'm like, that's pretty funny. I like that.
I thought you were gonna say "Come Sport."
No, I mean it could.
That would be better, especially at the gym.
What are you doing over there? Turn around. It's like, what's that? And it's like, oh, Come Sport. The other one I printed, it's just got it's very simple. So it got a very big pot leaf on it, and it just says High Flyer.
Classic.
I like that one. I was like, that's pretty sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, like shout out Barbershop Window. I mean, there was some of my first like real good wrestling shirts. I remember I had one. It was like, like the Reservoir Dogs, like where it's like the guys like walking and they're all in like the black suits and it's been like parodied so many times.
Yeah.
It was a design like that, but it was on a white shirt and it was just the black like outline of the suits and stuff of each guy, but each head was a different like legendary luchador's mask, and it's so fucking cool. And I wish I still had that. I don't even think we have the design for that one in the folders. I would have to look, but that was a really cool design.
There's a brand, I think they're called Off the Rope. I don't know if you on Instagram, and I seen they did like they do like similar like parody wrestling type shirts, and they did like a Bratz Diva one.
Ooh.
Like where she was holding like the women's championship. And then they did like the Spitfire skateboard, logo.
Okay. Oh, like the little flame guy.
Yeah, but with like Kane and then like Goldust and like some other Mankind, like everybody that had like a mask. It was like a line of them. It was pretty cool.
Oh, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I love shirts like that. Like
they're very specific, like very specific niche audience. But for those people that see that, it's almost an instant buy every time.
Right. Yeah.
That's fine. Well, speaking of that, I don't know how much of that. I don't know if you know what I'm giving you the Iggy for. Are you able to talk about that?
I mean,
well, there's a guy we know that does clothing stuff like that.
Yeah,
and
he's all right. He's pretty cool.
He does pretty cool remakes and reprints of designs that do pretty well.
Yeah.
But so you working at the print shop, you also you like that segue? I'm very good at segues.
Yeah, that was good, smooth.
Have you ever ridden a Segway before?
No, I've actually only been on a train one time, and it was
you've only been on a train one time.
Yeah. Well,
which time?
Okay,
I need to hear about this one journey on a train you have.
Okay. Well, technically, I guess it would be more than one. It would be two if like I had to get on the train at the airport in Texas, I believe, and I don't remember what airport it was, but it was huge. So I had to, and I don't really consider that a train ride because it took 3 minutes.
That's like a monorail,
right?
Kinda.
Yeah,
I mean that's fair. That's still trainish.
No, we were going to the Cubs game. I was probably 9 or 10. Me and my stepbrother and my dad and my stepmom went, and they wanted us to have the Chicago experience. So we parked the car somewhere, and then they had us get on this fucking train. And
she's like, "Good luck,
dude." I hated it.
The best too. It's like It's like, oh, the Chicago experience. Where do you want to take the kids? The most dangerous place in the city, the
Right.
train.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. Like I think they wanted to save money on parking too because
Sure, no,
like over
absolutely.
by Wrigley, like I'm sure it's more expensive. But yeah, I don't know. I never understood the. I mean, the people that have to take the train. Hey, like shout out to you, like Nathan. Oh my God. I could not imagine, and he's so committed, and
Yeah,
he contributes so much. He's such an unsung hero.
I love him so
Yeah,
much.
he really like is somebody who is so crucial to the scene, I think, and doesn't really get the recognition he should. So like, shout out to Nathan.
Yeah, shout out Nathan. I'm sure he'll be a guest on here at some point.
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm high, so
Yeah. Dude, no, I used to love riding the train.
yeah, the train.
Like we used
Fuck the
to, because I'm originally from the South Side, so we would take the Orange Line up into the city, usually for anything, because we'd go to like shows anywhere, and we would just basically, because none of us drove or wanted to drive into the city, and we would just take the train in and just figure out where we had to go and how far we had to walk. But like I used to be like, oh yeah, man, the train is so sick. And then like you realize it's like it kind of sucks because you're just like sitting there and like and then it gets packed and there's people like pushing you and like people pissing
Right.
sometimes and you're just
Um,
like what, why, people
yeah,
sleeping,
farting.
farting and stuff like.
That's gross. Yeah, no, trains are gross, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Gotta get where you gotta get.
But shout out the Holiday Train. I don't know if you've ever seen the Holiday Train.
No,
Do you know what the Holiday Train is?
sounds like a sex position.
Well, it's the most festive position of the year. And it's one of the they do I don't know if it's a specific train line in the loop or like one of them but they dress up one of the trains, like they deck it out in all fucking like Christmas lights and stuff, and it's like all fucking glowy and light up and shit.
Okay.
So if you ever see it, it's like this fucking glowing eyesore.
But it's
Just
probably like $50 to get on it though. or
no, I
something.
think it's just like a normal train ride.
Oh,
But
really?
you just like you just I think they move I think they move it to different trains. So like you never know where it's gonna be. So you might just like randomly get the fucking holiday train, which is
That's
cool. I've never gotten the holiday train. I've never seen it in person, but I've seen video of it. And I'm gonna say like I'm a big Christmas guy. Shout out the holiday train.
okay. So it's not like the Loch Ness monster. Like you've not.
No,
been
it
on
exists. It's for real.
Okay. I've never heard of it. Never seen it.
Dude.
So,
No, it's for real. I'll
Alright.
show you a
yeah,
video of it later.
Yeah. All right, for sure.
But your camera guy Nick.
Yeah.
How did camera guy Nick start, I guess? When was your first foray into the wrestling realm?
Well, I was. So I was leaving a Starcast. It was, I think Starcast 3. It was the one before All In, the first one.
Okay.
And at the time, I had an internship at House of Blues in Chicago. So like I had just like stopped doing that actually, because they weren't looking for like any more like house photographers and like, I was done. So I had free time. I'm leaving Starcast and I see Steve from Warrior Wrestling handing out
Ooh.
flyers.
Shout out Steve.
Yeah, shout out to Steve. And it was for Warrior Wrestling. I want to say it was like 6 or 7 or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. It was one of those. But either way, I looked at the flyer and I seen like names that I knew, and at the time I had been removed from wrestling really like altogether for probably like 2010-ish, 2011 I stopped watching. And even when I was watching, I grew up on WWE, so like I didn't even know what the independent wrestling scene was.
Sure. So like generally like I would say like a lot of my friends that I had growing up were wrestling fans growing up, but then kind of grew out of it or whatever. So more of a lapse fan at the
Yeah.
time.
But I was intrigued in AEW because I'm like, oh, it's this new product. So, but I had actually, I'm gonna get heat for this.
Oh
But
boy.
what got me back into wrestling was when Goldberg came back.
Oh shit. No. No, fucking I don't even care. I fucking love Goldberg.
Okay, yeah, me too.
Cuz like that's the thing is like I have coworkers that are like younger. How old are you?
30.
You're 30? Okay. You're not that much younger than me. But there's like I have younger coworkers that are just like, dude, fuck Goldberg. And I'm like, okay, I get it. Cuz Goldberg, current day Goldberg, I get it. But if you grew up in the 90s and you witnessed Goldberg at his peak in WCW, he wasn't a good wrestler, but he was just a phenomenon, and just like his aura and just like it was the for lack of a better term, lightning in a bottle, but something like that just like was so captivating. It was just like this dude. He was literally just this fucking badass dude that was coming out and just wrecking people, and like people just loved it. They were just like, yeah, fuck yeah. He just speared him and he tackled him down. Yeah, that's my guy. This is world champion. And like it was believable because he was a fucking monster, and he just like would run through the competition, and like Goldberg back in the day in WCW was the man. WWF, WWE Goldberg, I mean he was okay, whatever, but like
Yeah.
and current day Goldberg, yeah, not so much.
Like, and I honestly, there was a show I think probably at Rosemont or whatever in Rosemont, when he was like champion, I think at the time, like WWE champion,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like the first show I was gonna go to when I had got back into it, but I ended up not going because like whatever reason, and I regret it because I don't think I've ever got to see him. Like now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think I ever have. But anyway, so like I had started watching wrestling again, kind of in 2017, like with the WWE Network and stuff. So like I was catching myself up, like as much as I could, trying to get like involved in what was going on at the time, but like I still really couldn't. But when AEW like presented itself, I was like, oh, okay, this is different. And then that kind of really honestly introduced me to like independent wrestling in general. So on that Warrior Wrestling show, there was like the Lucha Brothers. I think I think Brian Cage was on it. Like Michael Elgin was on it. Mick Foley was gonna be there. So just a bunch of people that I knew.
Yeah. Oh
so,
yeah.
So in me, like obviously growing up a fan, I was like, oh wow. So I turned around and I was like, hey, do you guys need a photographer for this? And he was like, yeah. So
I love that because that's the most pro wrestling thing ever. Is like just like, hey, do you guys need a? Yeah, actually we do. So anytime if anybody who is always asking about how's the easiest way to get into the business, just show up at a wrestling show and ask if they need a something.
yeah,
They might need a something.
It doesn't hurt to ask, honestly. I mean, it might hurt your ego if you get rejected, but that doesn't really mean much.
Yeah. Do it.
But that was really cool, and like from there on, like so that was 2019. I did that show. That was my first one, and then I want to say I started doing AEW Alive, which was like directly after COVID.
Okay, yeah.
That was when everything
Right.
had opened back up. And there was only like 15 people like allowed in, and everybody had to wear a mask. Like even Perch had a mask on in the ring. And
Yeah, that was
gloves.
interesting time.
Yeah, it was. I seen Matt Justice give Manders a Death Valley driver off his scissor lift through a plastic table in front of like 15 people at the live taping. It was I mean, it was awesome to see, but I mean, I just
Those
like,
guys go hard every time.
dude,
I love
couldn't
it.
believe. Yeah, I like that was my first AEW show. That was my second wrestling show ever. So I was like in
You're just like,
awe.
holy shit.
In awe. I was in awe, especially because, like I said, like I didn't know the reputation of like these guys.
Okay.
So I'm just an outsider,
Oh man.
looking at this awesome shit happening for the first time.
Right.
Because like I've never seen anything like that on WWE or anything, so I'm just like amazed.
Oh, I could even imagine.
But
Yeah.
like not trying to fanboy out backstage because I just know how it is.
You got to be like, that was cool.
Right.
That's all right.
You say hello or whatever, but you don't go back there and be like, oh my god, like, hey, can I get a picture with you? Like, blah blah blah. Like, I feel like I'm all for, like, obviously, like, the boys is a different story. Like, you guys take pictures together, but I feel like us, like, the reason why you guys are in the back is so you're not being bothered by shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the way I look at it is like, and that's how I've looked at it since the beginning, is like I don't want to come off as that guy just because I don't know, it's kind of corny.
No, I understand that thought process
But
though.
like Rohit Raju or Hakeem Zayn, whatever.
Hey,
Yeah, man, he's one of my favorites. So
I
like,
love that guy.
ironically, the first show that I started to watch was TNA. Like when I like independent wise, I guess, if you want to like call that independent or less mainstream than WWE. And I mean like 2017 TNA. So I had watched him in like some scramble match, I don't know, on some pay-per-view, on like a bootleg wrestling website that was showing, whatever. And I remembered him when I seen him at the AEW live taping, and I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. So that stuck with me, and like I told him like years later how like it meant a lot to me that he was always so cool to me, because sometimes when you're like the new guy, it's not that you get like the weird looks. It's just you're the new guy, so you gotta. It's up to you to make the first impression, and like having anxiety and all that stuff, it's kind of hard to do that. And it was cool because he like really welcomed me into like the locker room, which made me feel more comfortable when I moved on to other promotions.
No, absolutely. I have nothing but glowing remarks for him. Like,
Yeah.
just in any locker room that I've ever shared with him, whether it be in St. Louis, in Canada, or anywhere else, like he just he was always very welcoming like that. And
Yeah.
like, not that he would give off the vibe of like being someone that would be kind of an asshole, but like, when I was coming up in wrestling too, like I kind of just always assumed everyone was going to be an asshole until they weren't. So,
Right.
but he was always awesome. So, shout out Hakeem Zayn.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's a good dude. Good dude.
So where were we?
I don't know. I can keep talking about how I don't know if you want me to keep telling my
Oh, keep
story.
going. Yeah.
So yeah, going into 2020, I was already doing AEW, and then at the time Warrior was doing like monthly shows, I think, or something. They're like bi-monthly or something. So those were my bookings. And then I think I started doing Fourth Wall Wrestling in Milwaukee.
Oh, nice. Shout out Mario.
Yeah.
I love
real.
Mario.
He's also one of the good ones. And then I did that for a while. I just started like doing everything I could. I did Zello Pro. I started doing that. I literally did anything. I did LLT, or I think that's what they're called, right?
Yeah,
One of
Lucha
the
Libre Total.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I did that. I was doing everything I could really just to get my name out there in a way, not to get myself over, like, in a sense, but just I wanted to earn it, like I just always kind of strive to like be better and like better and better, and I've been a perfectionist for as long as I can remember. And when I first started taking pictures, I was like not good, in my opinion.
Sure.
Right? You know what I mean? But as time went on, like you have to have the skills, yeah, like but you also do have to have like the equipment, unfortunately, like to so it takes it takes money to make money, and like it's a cliche saying, but really, like, I've upgraded my camera 3 times since I started shooting, and it's paid all of them if pay themselves off, like, eventually.
Sure.
And it's just, I I still to this day, even though I've done all this, like all these things, I still always believe like I can be better. Um, which is why at that time I was doing so many things. And it was good, right? Like, cause like that's the way you get to know everybody, is like getting into all the locker rooms and meeting all the different people, because not everybody works in Chicago.
Sure. Yeah.
And then because I did all of those things, I met Isaias like in person. I knew who he was, but
Mm-hmm.
I met him at I think Warrior. I think he was working with Kylie like in a tag match or something. I don't know. He was there.
Okay.
And then I was like, yo, like, you guys should like let me come shoot, because you guys didn't have a photographer at the time.
At the time, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Probably
think
not.
Basil was like doing TNA or something, and like you guys just didn't have anybody, or there was somebody that was like in and out. I think it was a lady. I don't remember her name.
Oh yeah. A friend. Her name is Jess Castro.
Oh yes,
She.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
She would. She just. So sorry. Side to cut you off.
No, you're
Sidetrack
good.
with her. She's a wonderful girl. Lady, woman, person, friend. She just, I think she randomly just hit me up one day. Was like, hey, this is like back when we were at like Bottom Lounge too. This is like maybe 2016, 2017. And just like was just like, hey, like, I'm doing photography. Was just wondering if I could like, I just want to like basically get reps, you know. And they're like, I was wondering if I can come and just like shoot at your show, and just like I'll just give you the photos. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, yeah, I was like, okay. And she just started coming and doing that, and like she sent her and her husband have since become like really good friends with me, my wife, and like Craig Mitchell and his wife, and it's just funny that like how that connection just kind of came from just like a, hey, can I just come and shoot for the, and I'm like, yeah, just
Yeah.
come on through. But yeah, no, she I think they had another kid, and like she was working a lot more,
Okay,
and it was harder for them to come to shows as often.
I see. Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
shout out Jess.
I remember her being like very nice. Like also like welcoming. Because I hadn't met her at the time. She was the only person that was there, and I think Martin. I think Martin was there sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
unicorns.
yeah, but yeah. So I asked Isaiah, and he was like, "Yeah, come through." And then I came to Freelance, and that was in I think 2021. I want to say like February 2021, and then in 2021 I ended up doing like a lot. I think that was the year like I worked for New Japan, and like they flew me out to do like a strong taping and like a pay-per-view, and that was like the year where I really kind of like I was in PWI, like my picture was like on the cover of the first women's one, and
Really?
yeah.
You got a cover photo.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a
it's
copy
pretty
of it?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Hell
all,
yeah.
all the PWIs that my pictures are in, I have like copies of.
Hell yeah, good.
Just to, I figured it's something cool to have. And then,
Absolutely.
more recently, like I did the Windy City Riot, right in Chicago for New Japan,
Oh yeah.
where Moxley won the IWGP title, and
Yeah.
they had my pictures in like the Japanese like magazine. So I know somebody in Japan who had bought it for me and then shipped it to me. So I have that, which is pretty cool. And
That's
then,
awesome.
And then they used one of my They used like the main photo of like him with the belt in the ring for like their T-shirt. So
That's right.
I bought like 3 of them. Just one that I can wear, one to keep, and then one to like lounge around in.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, stuff like that's always cool. Like I don't know. I don't want to forever brag or anything, because that's also just not me. It's fucking corny as shit. But it is cool to like be a part of like like wrestling history. You know what I mean?
To like reflect on stuff like that, like you're just like, because I think about that too sometimes, where people will be like, with freelance stuff, they'll be like, oh, this thing or that thing, or like like when we had Mick Foley, was awesome. Like he was so fucking cool, and just like there was a moment where I think James turned and looked at me. We were sitting up on the balcony, and he just turned and looked at me, and he goes, "Did you ever think that when you started Freelance, that you would have Mick Foley being a guest referee in like a world title match on your show?" And I'm just like, no, definitely would never have pegged that one on my bingo card. But like, it's one of those things where I don't think about it in the moment. I never think about anything in the moment.
Yeah.
And I just reflect on it later, and I'll just go, yeah, I guess that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And that's enough for me. Sometimes I'm just like, yeah, like that was cool, because anything that I could say or like express, everybody else expresses that for me, I guess, or just like, it's one of those things where it's like, what else can be said, It was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was the second time I had gotten the privilege to work with Mick Foley. I use that term loosely. I didn't take any bumps or anything. I just that's what I say like when I photograph people.
But no, I mean
Um,
in a sense you are working with
Yeah.
we're all working together
Right,
to make
right.
that happen. Yeah.
But that was awesome, right? Like the heel turn at the end. Who expected that?
Oh, I know. Dude, it was so funny because like the crowd was like, oh, like that was awesome.
Yeah, no.
Shout out Mick Foley.
Yeah, shout out to Mick Foley. Yeah, yeah.
And shout out Mick Foley. So like the shirt that he wore, the referee shirt, was like a custom made, like he used to wear in the WWF. He would make his custom
Right.
referee shirts.
Did you get that done, or did you get it done?
So Frank and Frank's probably gonna kill me for revealing the secrets, but sorry Frank. But Frank and Noel made that shirt, and I think Noel painted like the Freelance logo on the left chest and stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And afterwards, we got him to autograph it, and we raffled it off. Where the proceeds, I think, went to St. Jude's, I believe. I hope so. I think that's what it was. But we did. We raffled it off for charity, and it was pretty cool. Like that we were able to do that. Like with Mick Foley.
Right.
Like,
no, those things are always cool. Like we just had Chavo, obviously.
yeah.
And that was another big one. I'm sure that was a surreal moment for you too, right? Kind of.
Yeah, just like it's one of those things where I'm just like, man, like I'd never like I always tell the story where like with Freelance starting, I'm like I never really like intended for it to be anything beyond like one show, like 2 shows max. Beyond that, it was just like people kept like being like, "Oh, so when's the next show? So when's the next show?" And I'm like, "Well, shit, I guess I have to keep doing this then." And here we are. But yeah, like James had asked me, like if you would have asked me, like, "Oh, do you ever think you'd have Chavo Guerrero on a Freelance show?" Like that's no. But now I'm thinking about like that kind of stuff, and I'm like, who's somebody else? Like, who's some other random like impossible like dream match that we could just pull out of our ass for our community, not even just for us, for like it helps more than just like our company. It helps the wrestler, it helps the company, it helps.
I would like to.
What do you
sorry
got?
to interrupt. I would like to take the credit here for making Alfonso and Santana Jackson happen. I don't care who says anything. I made that happen. I did. Okay?
I will say I may or may not have seen that tweet, and I may or may not have liked it, and I may or may not have been like, "God damn it, that is a really fucking good idea."
No. Yeah. No.
But no, for real, like, and I'm so happy that that's one that we were able to make happen because I think I've said before, like I reached out to Santana years ago, like when Freelance first started, because I saw like clips of him doing the moonwalk stuff, and back then he was charging a lot of money, or maybe it was just a lot of money to me at the time,
Sure.
but like it wasn't enough for me to justify the joke of having him there, because it was
Yeah.
basically like the whole first year of Freelance. Goddamn, go back and watch that shit on IWTV, because a lot of the stuff that it was a lot of the dumb stuff was just stuff that I thought would be funny, and it's still funny to me. But that was like one of my ideas was bringing in Santana Jackson. I wanted to do so. Are you familiar with Keith Hackney?
No.
No, so he's like for anyone who's familiar with like the first UFC like pay-per-view where it was just like, I don't know if you're familiar with that at all, but it was literally like no holds barred fighting, no weight classes, just dudes fighting.
Shamrock wasn't in. Was he in the first one?
Not in the first one. He didn't show up until a little bit later on.
Yeah, those are the earliest ones I've seen.
But this dude Keith Hackney was like one of the guys from one of the guys from the first one. He's famously known for his fight against this guy Emmanuel Yarborough, who was this like 600-pound like behemoth, like this big fat dude. And Keith Hackney's just this like 190-pound like skinny white dude, and he just like runs up on this dude and like palm strikes him like on the side of his head, like as hard as he can, and this giant dude just falls, and he just like kind of like gets him in a front face lock and just starts hammering him on the side and just keeps hitting him. I think he spins behind him and just starts hitting him on the side of the head, and they're not wearing gloves or anything, and then this big dude just like he just taps out because he couldn't like
Facebook or some shit probably
like clips of that. Yeah. And he went on to like the finals of that tournament, and I think he ended up losing to Poise Gracie.
You had him at a show?
I wanted to, so okay. So I learned that he owned a martial arts studio in Chicago.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Keith Hackney. That was just knowledge that I had learned at one point.
Okay.
And then at some point I also had learned that the guy who was the actor that played Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat also owned a martial arts gym in Chicago. So my brain went, how do I get Keith Hackney to fight Johnny Cage on one of my shows? And I literally was like trying my hardest. Like I was talking to like both of them, and I'm like, okay, because I'm like, neither one of these guys are wrestlers, so that's not going to happen. And I'm like, I wonder if I can have them do like a martial arts exhibition, like a coordinated like martial arts fight. But I'm like, no, that's gonna be way too like these guys are gonna be like, you got to pay us so much money. So I ultimately just decided to scrap the idea. But like, there's so many like random things that I like was trying to do. We did it for the first 2 years for Halloween. We used to do the Halloween Battle Royal, and it went away for rightful reasons. It kind of got out of control, and just not in a good way.
Okay.
But man, that first one, go back on IWTV and watch that. Or I think I posted the full on YouTube, because God damn it, to this day I still say, when people ask me what's my favorite match in Freelance history, it's the first Freelance Halloween Battle Royal.
I'll have to watch it.
It is so good, especially if you're smoking and you watch it. Because so it was basically just like, and this was back when we were at the Abbey, and it was just a bunch of people that like were just dudes that I knew that like were in the area, or just people that used to come to the shows, or just like some of them were just people that came from out of state to be in this match. But like, I was just like, hey, like pick a random like old wrestler, and then you'll just come out and be that wrestler in the match. And I remember Kirby tells this story all the time where he's like, I saw that on the run sheet, and then you told me the idea, and then he's like, I'm okay. And he's like, this is the dumbest fucking idea I've ever heard. And he's like, this stupid Mark bullshit. And like, yeah, 100%. Like looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, 100%. That's exactly what it is. But I mean, so those original Freelance shows started at like 10 o'clock too. So they were late shows.
Shit.
They didn't start till 10. We had bands playing during the show. Like there'd be like a couple matches, band would play, a couple matches, band would play.
That's awesome.
They were awesome. They were real
that's
sweet.
cool.
And so we just did like weird shit. And like, I swear to God, like that, like even like Kirby was like afterwards, he was like, yeah, it worked. Cause like, dude, so Marche, I'll use him as the example because he was in the match. He came out as The Rock. And you know Marche.
Yeah.
Marche as The Rock. He came out like he was born to be The Rock. And this crowd reacted like The Rock walked through that fucking curtain. And it's just like it's that tongue-in-cheek aspect of wrestling that you're just like, we all know this is a fucking show and we know that guy's not The Rock, but we're all drunk enough and having a good enough time that we're going to just pretend that guy's The Rock. And like, holy shit, the energy in that room was like, it shook the room. And it like, The Rock came out and the DX was already in the ring. So The Rock came in and he laid the smack down on The Rock and he tossed them out. Andy Kaufman was in there too. And just like, it was chaos. And the culmination of this match, I'm going to spoil it for you, but
Oh shit. Okay.
the culmination of this match, I'll just spoil the ending, but the culmination was I had this idea and I literally booked Dick Justice on the show for this spot specifically. And then I booked him on other shows beyond that as well, but he came in specifically for this spot. I made a custom Shockmaster helmet that I bought a Stormtrooper helmet on Amazon, like a plastic one, so it wasn't that expensive. And I got glitter spray paint, like spray silver, and I made a pretty damn good Shockmaster helmet. And I told him the idea, and I'm like, and he was like 100%. And so he came with he bought like a workman's suit or whatever, like. And so he came out. He was the last entrant into the match, and I remember we were like, what was Shockmaster's entrance theme? And I don't think he had one. I think eventually he had some like weird one because he was like a worker guy, but we were like, nobody knew what his entrance theme was, so we just played the audio from the promo where he's like, he's going to shock the world because he is the Shockmaster. And then like he comes out and the crowd loses their minds. So he comes out and everyone in the ring is just like selling it, like they're like, oh my God, this is it. Oh, he comes up on the apron, he's just G'ing it up, and he steps in the ropes and he trips and the helmet falls right off.
Perfect.
Huge pop. And he's sitting there just like with like, I can't believe it. And everyone in the commentary's like, it's Dick Justice. Oh my God, Dick Justice is here. And he just grabs the helmet very slowly, puts it back on his head, and then just starts bumping everybody. And he couldn't see in it, so he's like holding it, just like, and it was terrible. But he ended up just cleaning house and ended up winning the match. And big fucking pop. And it was just like, again, a perfect example of lightning in a bottle. Something like that it just worked that time. The second one is okay, not as good as the first one, but okay. Beyond that, they were bad. But the first one is perfect. Perfect. That is perfect wrestling.
I think me and Felicia will watch it this week.
Oh, you need to watch it. You need to tell me exactly what you think.
I will. I literally, well, I told you I just got an IWTV account, so I will definitely watch it. I'll put a match out there. Trevor and Microman.
Dude, that one. I know I've seen Trevor politicking for that one.
I think that would be. I think I want to see Trevor get his ass whipped by Microman for one. I mean, I think everybody would like that. Secondly, I love Microman. He's so nice.
That's what I hear. That's what I hear. You know what though? I will say this: we reached out to Microman just to test the waters and see, if there's any interest on his side. And I will say this: he did say he's like, Trevor Outlaw, not interested, not right now at least. But we could figure maybe down the line we can convince him to come to a freelance show. And I know him and Frank were talking about main events and championships.
That's true.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
We might have to get past Microman first. But to cap off that story, so we did the Shockmaster. We posted photos of it, obviously, like, and it was just like we had some video, but mostly photos at the time. This is 2014, not that long ago, but a long time ago. And Fred Ottman's wife saw the photos, and I got berated in emails, in my messages, just like, how dare you make fun of and all this stuff, and like I'm just like, what? And like his actual page like saw the photos and he shared it, and it was just like LOL. So maybe he was like LOL as in like, huh, look at these fucking assholes, or like literally thought it was funny. But I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, I apologize, it was not meant to be in bad taste. And I was like, and to be fair, he did win the match. She blocked me after that. Okay. But no, that's for real though. Like, she actually did like was raising a stink about it. I'll see if I can find the screenshots from that.
That's
because that was so funny to me. I was like, and me being like so like anxious and like worried about like pissing people off, thought like, oh no, is this gonna get me like real bad heat now? not realizing that like it literally doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, no, that I think her opinion matters to everybody in every locker room. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, maybe.
you are forever.
I'm blacklisted.
Yes. I do. Just to swing back to like the Chavo thing real quick, because like I just wanted to like make a comment about like Coda and like how much he cared about that whole program.
Oh yeah.
He's the one that reached out to me to do that video, like that little vignette thing, and that was all his idea. Like he reached out to somebody with the lowrider. He's the one that had the idea to do it in front of Logan Square, and then we had a whole other. So I guess this is a good place to tell this story, since it'll never see the light of day. But so we had a whole segment that we cut out.
Oh yeah,
because so he told me he wanted to do a like a scene basically where it's his dad and what is in real life his nephew, but in the video would kayfabe be him as a kid, watching like just random matches, on WWE or WCW or whatever. So like on paper, it's like, yes, that's a good idea. And then I was like, we can do this thing where, like we do a close-up shot on the eyes and then do a cut to the TV to whatever match is playing, and then cut back, and then like it's you, like a close-up of your eyes like now, and then that's how we can transition into that. So what ended up happening was I didn't know what his nephew looked like, and his nephew looks nothing like him. So on top of that, like I didn't know he was only like 2 years old, or if he even is 2 years old, I'm not sure, but he's really young. And like he just wasn't cooperating at all, like and obviously not knowing me, and he's like, he's a kid, so he's scared because he's never seen me before, and I have a camera, and I'm here pointing it in his face. So they're trying to get him to watch the matches, and he's not having it. So then I have to go outside and shoot from the window outside just to get this shot. And we try to make it work, but like when me and Coda went back and watched it, we both agreed, like, it's probably, you don't want to insult the people that are watching. Like you said earlier, like everybody knows like what they're in for, right? Everybody knows it's a show and whatever, but at the same time, you don't want to insult their intelligence, especially when you're doing something serious, like I said, because it was important to him.
Sure.
And I told him, I don't want this like to come off as something that you're gonna look back on and be like, damn, I wish that this was different. So we had cut that whole part out, and that whole day was actually a mess just shooting. But we were fighting the sunset because it was literally like 6 o'clock, so the sun was coming down, and every scene was like a little darker. But we were trying to make it work because he wasn't very comfortable making the car bounce.
Oh, he didn't want to do it too
No,
much.
like yeah, so the guy had to get in and do it, and by that time the sun had set a little bit more, so it's like it's me being a perfectionist. I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, God damn it, like we gotta try and make this work. And but no, I just wanted to like give him some recognition because I feel like a lot more talent should put in that amount of time and care and energy into just their character and presentation, like overall in general.
No, absolutely. And that was the thing that a lot of people like jokingly were just like, "Dang, Freelance's budget like over here like getting the lowrider," and like just laughing because like they don't know that like not that we would not want to invest money and stuff into like into our wrestlers production and stuff like that, but like realistically like we can only do so much from ourselves, and to have wrestlers like Coda and Alfonso
Yeah,
as well. You did a video with him
yeah,
for the match with Santana, and like to have wrestlers like have ideas like that and to want to help present themselves in such a bigger way, and to put more focus on like specific matches or just even on themselves. Like I know you've been doing the stuff like that. Arnley as well has been doing stuff like that, and it's incredibly beneficial to the performers to be able to have an additional way to kind of express themselves as a character, and it's a different outlet for you to kind of like, okay, well, I can only tell you so much about who I am as a character in the X amount of minutes that I'm out there in the ring. And even so, you're in the middle of the ring. You can't really directly tell somebody something, or like maybe some of the things that you think, mannerisms that you do in the ring, gestures you think translates well, but doesn't really translate that well to an audience, can translate better onto a camera or like something like that. And I think, like you said, more wrestlers should uh, think about investing your time in your efforts into doing that. But it's incredible that you guys do that kind of stuff, and that we have people like you guys like offering that kind of extra promotional stuff in wrestling, because it's important, because that's exactly what like WWE, AEW, MLW, TNA, like that's exactly what these companies are looking for. They're looking for people that they can plug into their television program as characters.
yeah, and like perception is reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you present yourself as a star, people will treat you like a star, and like it might not translate to like you going to Jewel and everybody knowing who you are, but in the wrestling space, if that's how you present yourself, then eventually that's how people are going to look at you. And it could take years. And this is me, and not even, I'm obviously not a wrestler, this is just me like speaking from, like let's take Sky Blue for example.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I literally like seen her like but when I started working with her, I think she was like maybe a year in, maybe, I think. But I knew right away like she was gonna eventually get a job. Like cuz you just know, and like over time you can see like these people develop like their character and their presentation and the way that they just carry themselves backstage and all those kinds of things. So that's just me speaking from an outside perspective. But from what I'm trying to do is like help rewrite the narrative. I feel like there's really like a bigger space for independent wrestlers and where there could be like fandom in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, like the territories back in the day. That's how everybody got famous, or per se, and in the wrestling world, was because of the local shows and the crowds that it would bring, and they were treated like celebrities in their towns. You know what I mean? And I feel like if the presentation is there, and if you want to go as far as saying like kayfabe, right, is like still present in the building, you those things can be reality. It's not like it's out the window. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah. You just have to, like we said, everyone has to just is everyone just like everyone's cool with this, like, you know what I mean? Like we all know it's a show, but like, you know, like yeah, it's exactly. I feel like it's exactly kind of how things have been going with wrestling now. I feel like wrestling was really hot in the 90s. It kind of dipped after that and it was not as cool and you kind of got made fun of for liking wrestling. And now wrestling's kind of like the thing that's like, "Oh shit, you like wrestling? Hell yeah, man."
Yeah.
Like it's cool to like wrestling again.
Yeah.
And we just want to get more people involved and interactive.
And I think like the promotion, like just the cool little like things, like the hype videos or the packages, and or the zines,
Mhm.
anything, any kind of like promotional thing that will make the presentation appear like more appealing or professional, or however you want to put it, like, and obviously in the long run is a good thing, and that's what we all want, right? We want growth, and everybody, I think, wants to make a little more money at the end of the day and get a little bit more exposure. And it's just it's all a growing process, and I hopefully am gonna contribute to whoever needs help in that department with. That's my shameless plug. If you want to film a promo or anything like that, really, if you have an idea,
This is where the phone number is
yeah,
flashing at the bottom of the screen.
like
Call now.
really, like I would much rather work with a budget and make an idea happen, and help somebody else get over like that. I care way more about that than like an actual paycheck. I think it's cool to see other people like get recognition from something that like I helped make.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
As H2O said, passion before fashion. Uh, I don't. Hold on. Let me see where we're at on this. On my timer.
Are we over? Are we over?
No, we're not over, but we are
We gotta go home.
we are getting the wrap up. But that's okay, like because this was awesome. Thank you, dude, so much. I know we were talking about lining up and having one of these sit downs for a minute, and I'm glad I'm finally doing the show again on a more consistent basis. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, me too. I
Um,
enjoy it.
do you?
I listen to it at work. Yeah.
Oh shit. It's a lot of it is just me rambling.
Yeah, that's why it's fun. Because there's some wrestling in there, and then there's some random in there, and it's a good mixture.
Shit. But we'll definitely link up again. I'm gonna. It's because I want to like have this show be like a lot less interview-y because it feels like it's very interview-y sometimes, and I don't mean it to be, and it's not a bad thing either because like it gives people an opportunity to know you a little bit. You're a very quiet individual at shows, and but I want to do like more shows where it's just like kind of we can have the boys kind of hanging out and just like talking, telling stories and stuff too. So
Yeah.
we'll see. We'll link up and do some stuff with that again.
Yeah.
But
I'd love to.
but before we get out of here, anything that you want to plug, promote, and shill, the floor is yours, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, I guess just like I said, don't be afraid to reach out about I'm trying to move more into like the cinema space or videography space. And promos, vignettes, anything like that. If you have an idea, reach out, and I do my best to see if we can help make it a reality. Other than that, just DM me on Twitter or Instagram if you want to book me, if you're watching this and listening to this or whatever. Yeah, camera guy gimmick on Instagram and Twitter, or X now as they call it.
X.
Yeah.
X gonna give it to you.
Not much plugging, but hopefully Oh yeah, just watch the recap videos. Yeah, those are really cool. Some of them are they don't get as much attention as they should because I think, and that's not me like blowing smoke up my own ass. I just think like the boys, like do some really cool shit sometimes, and like not everybody has time to like watch the 3 hour show.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to fit as much as I could into a 3 or 2 minute song, so it doesn't, I know people nowadays have a shorter attention span, but yeah, watch the recap videos. They're cool and it would mean a lot to me, and then you can be caught up with freelance and all the other promotions that you enjoy. So yeah, there's my plug
Hell yeah.
while plugging freelance. So
Hell yeah. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah, dude. Well, again, thank you so much.
of course.
Thanks for doing it. It's
Little tickle.
our Triple H photo.
Oh yeah,
The
I always do that in the locker room. Catches the boys off. Yeah.
all of his stuff, all of his tags, all of my stuff will be in the description. Whether you're watching this video or listening to it on in audio form. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you guys later. Bye.